Hey, this is Mike with DRUMline. I'm with Ryan Brown, who played with Zappa, plays Zappa tonight. And it went better than that. The noise in the background. So tell us about some of the noises you were making up there on your new DW kit, which was bigger than your 4-piece kit.
Yeah, way bigger than my normal 4-piece I played for the last 15 years or so. Got 3 rototoms on the left, 8, 10, 12 rotos, 3 rack toms, 10, 12, 13, 2 4-toms, 16, 18, 22-inch kick drum. A couple different snare drums I've been going back and forth between both 14 inches, and a lot of cymbals, including a bunch of chinas and splashes and bells and things like that that I haven't used since high school.
Well, at DRUMline, we don't normally talk about drum sizes because we want to know about the size of your heart. And Ryan Brown, I saw you in 1996 play the Black Page, and some 17 years with a very successful career later. You actually played it on stage.
I did.
With the Zappa family, or basically Dweezil and his Zappa plays Zappa crew.
Yeah.
So what was that experience, that whole journey like for you? Just going, you've been through it, and it took 20-some, 30 years to realize that part of your dream. You've had other things come true, but
yeah, no, that's a great question. It's really amazing. I really kind of don't believe that it's happened yet. It's something that I've wanted to happen, for years and years and years. And now that it's kind of coming to fruition, it's honestly really hard to believe.
Well, one time on the Strip, I saw you play with Al at the Sunset Strip, and then you told me, we were just talking until like 3 or 4 in the morning or something, and you told me a lot of guys come out here and they just, they don't last very long because they don't realize how many years it's going to take, how much effort, showing up on time, being reliable is really more important than your technique, although you have incredible technique.
Well, thanks.
But
that's a huge part of it, though. That's a huge thing.
Being a professional.
Being a professional, showing up on time, doing what a producer will want, doing what he'll ask, not just saying, no, that's my take, I'm done. You hear stories about that kind of stuff all the time. So you're working for somebody else. If you do what they want, you'll get hired all the time.
One thing is, how did you come about this gig? I know nothing really about that.
Pete Jones, the tour manager for ZPZ, who you heard tonight, because he's the guy that sang Wino Man and was doing the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
You guys remember him. I've known him since the first week I moved to LA 14 years ago. And then he just played in bands with him for years, ever since I got to LA. And he started working for ZPZ. And one thing led to another, and through him I was just lucky enough to get thrown into the hat to audition, and went through the audition process, and here we are. So it's all through Pete Jones.
Was that audition process anything like what Frank used to do to people?
I've heard a lot of stories about what Frank did. It was a little bit different, but it was great. Dweezil sent me a list of 10 tunes to learn, and I had about 48 hours to learn them. And it's just tunes that I've known since I was 14 years old. But they're all very, very challenging tunes. I had to put in a lot of time. I did not sleep for a couple of days when I got that list, and then went down and played with them, with the band for a little bit over an hour. We played all 10 tunes, and then he had some other guys go down and audition. Then he called me and said, "Hey, I'd like you to come back." And so I went back down a couple of days later. He sent us some more tunes to learn. So learned those tunes, went down and played those tunes, and here we are.
There's a lot of great musicians in the band, but you have to be, with the complexity of the material. But Dweezil was blistering guitar solo at the end, the last song, Muffin Man, I guess. And that thing was, there's so many different styles of music, but it was like a 5-6 minute guitar solo, basically.
Yeah.
And it just never.
It's the same way as his dad did the same thing. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we were up there with a guy, an older gentleman, and his son, and they kept trying to leave and kept saying goodbye to us. And then you guys would play another song, and they would start jumping up and down. So there was 2 kinds of people at the show. There's kind of the people that knew the material and really dug it, and there was some newbies, and maybe some people that are newer to Zappa, like myself. I know about it, but I've become more familiar. And I came with a friend that never has heard any of the music tonight. And Dweezil wanted the reaction because it was the Roxy and elsewhere 40th anniversary, so he got some of that, out of the crowd, and was really after that. Like, if you've never heard it before, discover it for the first time. And he says something really cool. It's still new music because it's from the future.
Yeah, I love that. I love that phrase too. Yeah, it's also interesting because there's so many records that Frank put out There's so many. He was so prolific that even a lot of people that know Frank and know a lot of the material don't know all of the material. So like in the first set we're doing the Roxy and Elsewhere front to back, and then the second set is a kind of an assortment of tunes from a whole bunch of other records, and there's a good chance a lot of people don't know some of those tunes just because there's so many different records that you put out.
And you guys are trying to keep the audience engaged, even though they may or may not be familiar with it.
Yeah. Yep.
How do you like switching? I mean, I know you played all different styles. You studied jazz. I've seen you in rock bands. You played with rappers. You played with so many different styles. And I guess what a perfect preparation for Zappa.
It really was perfect, yeah. And I went to school at Indiana University and got a degree in jazz studies and classical percussion. And both of those came in handy, numerous times tonight. There's a bunch of jazz stuff going on. That one of the last tunes we did was the Duke of Prunes from Orchestral Favorites. So, there's a bunch of orchestral stuff going on in that. And the really fun thing for me, too, is just kind of, I see it in my head as like I have a dial going back and forth between all the Zappa drummers. So if I'm doing a tune like the Roxy and Elsewhere stuff is all Ralph and Chester. So I'm kind of on that dial going back and forth between those two guys. And then we do, Flakes and Broken Hearts. So I flip it over to Bozio. And then, for the Black Page #2, we go into a part like the 88 band did with Wackerman. So I'll flip it over to Wackerman. So in my head, I'm constantly switching back and forth between these guys to try to replicate what they did and then add some of my own spice kind of on top of it. But
so you're paying honor, just like Dweezil?
Yeah, definitely.
And then
definitely.
putting your own flavor, or your own personality, because you're you.
Yeah, and
very unique player.
I'm trying to stay rooted in the original performers. For sure, and it makes it really, really
well.
Fun
now you're in
too.
that lineage, which is quite a something.
It's kind of hard to believe.
Single tear of pride. You're like my kid in a way, but I wish. But I'm my brother for sure. Love you, man.
Dude, love you too. Good morning, Mike St. John.
All right. Hey, Ryan Brown.
Hi, Mexican.
Okay,
We'll do it one more time.
You called me Mexican. We're already eating burritos.
Yeah, one more time.
Hey, this is Mike with DRUMline. Oh.
You just slated it.
Brett Cole, would you reslate that video? Action. Get action. Is there a number marker?
Take 2112.
Yes.
Action. Okay. This is weird. I've never been this close to your face before. It's freaking me out. Don't start laughing. Okay, here we go.